I want to talk a little bit about, I don't even know if this is a thing, but I'm glad I'm talking to you because you can help me clean up whatever I mess up. But the stress of decades of trauma, or the stress of generational stress and how it shows up in our life. I want to talk about the stress that we carry from our trauma and the stress that we carry that has been projected onto us, and how can we even separate the two?
hmm So it has what we would call a cumulative effect. It builds on each other
Mm-hmm.
and it can multiply or magnify what we're holding. So I'm so glad you named it because a part of the stress we carry didn't start with us. That
Wow.
we receive our mother's anxiety, we receive our father's anxiety and despair. So that intergenerational piece, you think about how does it get passed down? So one way it gets passed down is in the body. So they've actually done research that shows trauma shifts the brain and then that can get passed down in the generations. The beautiful part with something called neuroplasticity, which means the brain can change, is then healing can shift the brain as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can pass that down. You can pass that new feeling down to your children. But not only does it show up in our bodies, it shows up in what we were taught. And so when you had parents and grandparents, like, within our heritage that had to be in survival mode, then we received messages like always stay ready, never let people see you weak,
Yeah.
always basically have that mask on, always be blessed and highly favored, never show the brokenness. And so those kinds of scripts are stressful. You put that on the weight of children that at all times, even when you're breaking, you must look excellent. So
Mm.
then there is not room for our humanity or our healing. So we notice it being passed down also by how we saw our families navigate the world. How did
Yeah.
they handle stress? And we can find ourselves repeating those same things, doing those same things, and haven't really thought about it. So some of the things are helpful, and some of the things did not serve them and do not serve us. So, wanting to break that cycle. And then you name our own trauma, right, as well, of what has happened in our lives. And one of the myths is that time heals wounds. And that's a lie. Time by itself is not going to shift you.
Wow.
Even if it was when you were 5 years old, 8 years old, and some people think it was so long ago, why does it still bother me? Well, I've never had room and space to even grieve it. We want people to jump to
Mm.
healed and strong and resilient and better. And I heard one minister in a chaplaincy course, he said, every church now has a praise team, but what we need is a lamentation team.
Mm.
You know, what if people don't feel like turning to their neighbor? What if they don't feel like running a lap? Is it real sanctuary? Can I show up really as I am, even if that's not
Wow.
the top of the world, even if that's not high praise? Is there a place in our sanctuary and in our friendships for those who are in the valley of the shadow of death?